Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Ready to dive into a story that weaves together art, community, and a river with a really fascinating past. Today, we're doing a special deep dive based on the materials you sent us about a unique exhibition, Being Part of the River. It's happening at the Castello di Legnano from May 17th to June 2nd, 2025.
That's right. And this exhibition isn't just a standalone event, it's actually the highlight of the Parco Mulini's Mill Day 2025. But more importantly, it's the outcome of a participatory project also called Being Part of the River.
Okay, so our mission for this deep dive is to unpack this whole initiative, right?
Yeah.
To understand how it aims to rekindle that connection between people, the community, and the Olona River.
Exactly. The Olona River, it often flows unnoticed, but it's deeply shaped this area.
And to really get a handle on the exhibition and the project behind it, we've got a few different angles, different sources to look at.
We do. We've got excerpts from the exhibition guide, which is helpful. We also have images giving us a visual sense of the exhibition and the river's history. And there's a presentation that walks through the river's past events. So, yeah, a good mix of sources to get a clear picture.
Okay, great. Let's start breaking this down. What are the core principles driving being part of the river? What's really at the heart of this project?
Well, there are several interconnected values, all pointing towards a common goal. First off, it's about making the river visible again, pulling it out of the shadows where it often sits.
Okay, making it seen.
Then recovering its history, that sort of thin thread connecting the community to the Olona over time. Another crucial bit is sharing experiences across generations, almost like passing the torch of memory. And, of course, creating spaces for meeting, whether real or symbolic, where this connection can actually be strengthened.
And I think that's how there's a kind of guiding principle tying all these values together. What is it?
Yes, exactly. The principle is knowing to defend. The idea is that only by truly understanding the river's value, its history, its role in the ecosystem, and in people's lives can we feel genuinely motivated to protect it and, take care of it.
That's really interesting, knowing to defend. And from an artistic standpoint, how does the exhibition approach the river? What's the lens art provides here?
Art here isn't just decoration, it's a powerful tool for reflection and understanding. There's a direct link to the valuable work the Ecomuseo of Parabiago has done with their Places of the Heart concept. It's an approach that really values the community's feelings about their own territory. Art, in this sense, helps bring out those emotional connections, makes them tangible.
So the real intention is to shine a spotlight on this somewhat forgotten Olona to bring it back into focus.
Precisely. To recover the stories about it, bring them back from collective memory, to share the experiences of those who've lived by it and still do, and to spark a sense of responsibility that's truly shared. Involving different age groups is fundamental in this rediscovery journey.
Perfect. That gives us a clear picture of the goals and values. Now, let's dive into the exhibition itself. Let's imagine we're walking into the Castello di Legnano. Where does the exhibition journey begin? What greets us?
Okay, so the path starts right in the castle courtyard. There, you'll find a panel with a QR code inviting visitors to connect to an audio guide. Technology becomes a bridge, really, between the past and present, between the site's history and the exhibition's theme.
Innovation serving the narrative. And what does this audio guide reveal first? What words introduce us to the heart of the exhibition?
Initially, the audio guide briefly touches on the history of the castle itself, the container for this story. Then it gradually leads you towards the central theme, being part of the river. It's a smooth transition, linking the place and its river intrinsically.
And we immediately hear from Marisol Gonzalez-Performa, the artist behind the project, if I understand correctly. What's her opening message?
Yes, it's her voice that welcomes you, with some really evocative words about the power of art. She points out how art has this amazing ability to transform how we see things, that it's not just an object or an image, but a real path towards knowledge.
A powerful statement that sets us up to look differently. Can you share a snippet of her words just to get us into that mindset?
Sure. Marisol says something like, when we think of art, we usually picture a work, an image, or an action. Each of these can generate an aesthetic experience, transforming our perception of the object or process represented. The nature of art is to transform, and I don't just mean materially, but perceptually. Art can change how we understand the world and ourselves. In this way, art becomes a path of knowledge, a means through which to reflect, question, and rethink the issues that concern us. It's basically an invitation to let art guide us in discovering new perspectives on the Olona.
That's a great intro. Really sets the tone. After that initial immersion in the courtyard, our journey continues inside the castle with a section evocatively titled, "The River Tells Its Story." What awaits us in this part of our deep dive?
This section is a real journey back in time into the Olona's millennia-long history. It's presented through 10 scenes, each embodied by a symbolic object. It's a very concrete visual way to trace the river's key milestones, almost like listening to its voice through these items.
10 seeds, each with an object acting as a silent narrator. Let's get into the details. What's the first scene and what object represents it? What does it tell us about the river before the river?
Right. The first scene is called The River Before the River. It throws us back millions of years, 1.8 million BC to be precise. Back then, the Milan area was actually under the sea. The object symbolizing this incredibly remote period is a fossil seashell.
Wow, a fossil shell.
Yeah, holding something that predates human civilization here forces you to think about the vast geological time the river has witnessed. It kind of puts our current concerns into perspective, offers a humbling view of our role in its history.
Incredible to imagine the sea right here. And the second scene, Plain Daughter of the Alps, what chapter of the river's story does that cover? What's its object?
The second scene takes us to around 1000 AD. This is when the Lombard Plain was taking its current shape thanks to the relentless action of alpine glaciers and the rivers flowing from them. The object chosen to represent this key phase is just a simple river stone.
A river stone.
Yeah, a basic element that's traveled through time, a silent witness to this slow, powerful process of landscape formation around us.
A piece of the mountains that helped draw the plain. Now the third scene has an intriguing title, Ancient River, Feminine. What do we know about this period and what mysterious object embodies it?
Okay, this scene is set around 300 AD. It refers to the ancient peoples of the Canagrate culture and the Celts. They were among the first to settle permanently right above the Olona Valley, founding the earliest villages. The object meant to represent this historically rich period is actually still being decided on. They're deliberately leaving a bit of mystery around its exact nature.
A touch of mystery makes you want to find out. Let's move to the fourth scene, Reclaimed River. Here we can imagine the human footprint starting to change the natural course of things. What's the symbolic object for this transformation?
Exactly. We're in 400 AD, right in the Roman era. Roman surveyors were the first to undertake significant deforestation and land reclamation in the valley. They laid the groundwork for organized agriculture and the birth of more structured settlements. Ideally, the object representing this important phase would be a Roman groma, a surveying tool used for mapping land and agricultural division. They're checking if an original artifact might be available to tell this story best.
Let's hope they can find one. The fifth scene takes a more martial tone. Military River. What historical events does this refer to, and what object echoes them?
Now we're in 800 AD. At various points in history, the river also played a significant strategic and defensive role. The object chosen to evoke this function is a brick taken directly from the Castello di Legnano itself.
A brick from the castle.
Yeah, a fragment of history highlighting the unbreakable link between the waterway and the fortress that watched over it, a connection of defense and power.
Defense and power embodied in a simple brick. And after the military sphere, the artistic dimension emerges with the sixth scene, Artistic River. What artwork leads us into this realm?
This scene takes us to around 1435 AD. It references a highly valued artwork found in the area, the famous fresco Herod's Banquet by Marcellino da Panicale. It's preserved in the baptistry of Castiglione Olona. It's a work that shows how the river and its surrounding landscape inspired even the great masters of art. The exhibit will likely feature a reproduction or some iconographic reference to this fresco.
A jump into the Renaissance, reminding us of landscape's beauty as inspiration. The seventh scene, though, talks about the economic river, a crucial role for the area's development. What object symbolizes its importance?
Absolutely. This scene focuses on the period of industrial development, particularly the 19th and 20th centuries, with the rise of pioneering companies. The object chosen to represent this economic shift is thread from the historic Cucirini di Parabiago textile company. It's a tangible symbol of the textile industry that profoundly shaped the Olona Valley, with both its bright spots and its shadows.
The textile industry, an engine of progress, but unfortunately one that also had a significant environmental impact. As the next scene's title hints, Invisible River Crisis. What does this difficult moment in the Olona's history represent?
Sadly, yes. This eighth scene is dedicated to the 20th century and the period of gradual neglect and exploitation of the water network. The chosen object, emblematically and maybe a bit provocatively, is a collection of colorful plastic waste.
Plastic waste. Powerful.
Yeah, this scene aims to visually represent how the river was too often seen merely as a drain. This led to severe pollution, biodiversity loss, and, as our sources emphasize, a real cultural lack of sense of place, the river became invisible, forgotten.
A strong and painful image, the plastic waste. Thankfully, the ninth scene seems to herald a potential turnaround. Reborn River. What signs of hope does this chapter offer?
This scene reflects the period of deindustrialization in the area and the potential initiatives for river restoration. The object representing it is still TBD, but the intent is to symbolize improving water quality, the slow return of some plant and animal species. Even though that cultural illness of the river's invisibility still lingers, a wound yet to fully heal.
Let's hope this rebirth gains more momentum. And
The 10th scene, also with an object yet to be finalized, highlights the current ecological instability of the Olona system. It's a fragility caused by treated wastewater discharges, often insufficient natural river flow, and the increasingly evident impact of climate change, which amplifies the risk of extreme weather events and pollution episodes. The subtitle is significant. The new heroes understood they are part of the river. It stresses the need for renewed awareness and collective commitment to protect it, to build a more sustainable future for the Olona together.
a really dense and meaningful historical journey, told through these 10 symbolic objects. After hearing the voice of the river, the exhibition invites us to listen to the river told by the people. What do we find in this participatory section?
Here, the focus shifts to the community maps created for the Parco Molini and the Parabiago area. These are participatory maps developed through collaboration between the Ecomuseo and various local actors. The goal was to identify and value community heritage and plan concrete actions for territorial care. They're tools that celebrate the past but look hopefully towards the future.
So actual maps of the heart and collective memory, revealing the deeper connections between people and their land.
Exactly. We find both historical maps, like the 2007 Community Map of Parabiago, which highlight the most significant places for local identity, those places of the heart holding shared stories and emotions. There are 6 double-sided maps, 12 in total, which will need specific supports for proper display.
12 maps holding a treasure trove of stories and meanings. And besides these visual representations, there are also sound maps, right? How do they fit into the narrative?
Yes, the Sound Map project integrates characteristic sounds of the territory into the participatory maps. Imagine being able to listen to the places shown on the map, immersing yourself in a unique sensory experience that enriches your perception of the landscape. It's an innovative way to connect with the surrounding environment.
Very evocative. And what's the main message emerging from these community maps and these voices joining together to tell the territory's story?
The message that comes through is that the Olona River Valley is experiencing a kind of renewed interest. It's returning to the center of attention for the community, institutions, and local businesses. You sense a desire for rebirth, where nature seems to be responding positively to conservation and enhancement efforts. The maps thus become witnesses to this rediscovered collective commitment.
A hopeful perspective realized through active community participation. After hearing the river's voice and its people's voice, we arrive at the central section of the exhibition, being part of the river, where art becomes the mouthpiece for this connection. What can we admire in this part of the display?
This is the section where the participatory work takes shape through various artistic expressions. First, we find the Association Manifestos, a project that actively involved local organizations.
Tell us about the origin and meaning of these manifestos. How did they come about, and what message do they aim to convey?
Okay. The first phase of the project involved getting to know the territory and the associations that live and protect it daily, like LIPU and Logambiente. Marisol wanted to give these groups a space to showcase their valuable work protecting the environment and the social fabric. It's a way to give voice to those acting concretely to safeguard the river and its ecosystem.
A way to provide visibility and recognition to those on the front lines for the territory. And what's the artistic language used for these manifestos? What materials and techniques were employed?
Marisol chose fabric, embroidery, and sewing as the expressive language. It wasn't a random choice. It connects to her family history in textiles and, ironically, also links back to the history of pollution in the Olona Valley caused by the textile industry itself. It's a language that also evokes networks of female solidarity and creative forms of resistance, a nice counterpoint between past and present, exploitation and care.
A contrast that makes you reflect on the complex relationship between humans and nature. And how did the collaboration with the associations unfold for these manifestos?
The associations were invited to create a motto that truly represented them in this project and to choose an animal symbolizing their commitment. The aesthetic of the manifestos draws inspiration from the courageous Greenham Common women and also from Lombard processional banners found in photo archives, historically used to pray for rain or good river flow. It's a nod to ancient forms of connection with nature.
Very evocative. Do you have any examples of the mottos and animals chosen to give us a concrete idea?
Certainly, Legambiente chose the motto, "The quality of life of the planet and its inhabitants is determined by the richness of biodiversity." And their symbolic animal is the kingfisher, with its vibrant colors linked to water. L.A. Pugh, on the other hand, opted for the bee-eater, a migratory bird closely tied to river environments, with the text, "The future of biodiversity flies on colorful wings." Two powerful messages deeply connected to the river theme.
Vivid images taking shape through the craft of textiles. After the manifestos, we find the embroidered map. How did this unique piece come about, and what does it represent?
Together, a wide range of perspectives on the river, surveys were distributed in schools. Families were encouraged to fill them out together, involving multiple generations. The content from these responses, the emotions, memories, and hopes tied to the Olona, were then transformed into an emotional map. It was embroidered with the invaluable help of volunteers from a nursing home and a senior center. It's a piece that brings together the voices of the young and the wisdom of the elderly in a collective narrative.
A work that ideally joins the hands of different generations in a gesture of care and memory. What does this embroidered map depict?
The map represents the water cycle in the urban context and the residents' perceptions of the river. It's inspired by the approach of urban planner Francesco Carreri, who focuses on natural areas within cities. At the center of the embroidered map is the Parco dei Mulini, surrounded by a white space symbolizing residents' thoughts and emotions. Around it are various phrases embroidered with specific colored threads: black for personal historical accounts related to the river, green for emotions felt near its course, red for improvement proposals, and blue for visions of the Olona's future. It's really an atlas of feelings and hopes for the river's future.
A tapestry of voices and emotions that gives us an intimate picture of the community's relationship with its river. And alongside the embroidered map, there are also photographs. What do they document?
The photos accompanying the embroidered map capture the hands of the elderly volunteers during the patient embroidery process. It's a detail that underscores the human and intergenerational value of the work, a gesture that combines ancient know-how with the desire to leave a mark for the future.
A touching detail that adds another layer of meaning. The exhibition continues with New Myths and Poems of the Olona River, a title that leads us into the realm of creativity and imagination. What can we expect?
This is a very special piece, full of freshness. It's a foldable fabric book containing poems and myths created by students of Professor Laura Vigano from the Rancilio School in Villa Stanza. The project aimed to encourage children to listen closely to the river and its surroundings and then transform their perceptions into creative writing, giving voice to their imagination.
A way to bring out the river's voice through the sensitive eyes and imagination of the youngest generation. What are the recurring themes in these writings? What images of the river emerge from their words?
The texts roam freely through the imagery linked to the Olona, revealing the children's sensitivity and ecological awareness. They often include real moral lessons about the river's fragile beauty, the importance of caring for it, and respect for nature.
And these poetic stories also had a moment of public sharing, I gather. How did that performance take shape?
Yes. After the poems were created, an engaging public event was organized. The children shared their creations along a symbolic route that ended at the floating filter island called Piccola Custode, Little Guardian, located in the new wetland area. Inside the fabric book, there's also a map tracing this poetic and nature-focused route.
An experience that managed to blend creativity with discovering the territory, uniting art with environmental awareness. The next work is titled, Our Echo in the River. What does this installation represent?
This piece features repeating contours of human hands and an oak leaf. It's a strong symbol of the interconnectedness between humans and nature. It's a reminder of how our actions reflect on the environment and vice versa. It visually evokes how we ourselves are an integral part of the river ecosystem.
A powerful image underlining our inseparable bond with the natural world. How did this project develop? What was the community involvement?
Alongside this, an engaging educational workshop was held with children from the Manzoni School. It focused on collecting and identifying leaves from different tree species growing along the riverbanks, highlighting the vital importance of wetlands for biodiversity. Using the old photographic technique of cyanotype, the leaf shapes were imprinted onto fabric fragments, creating evocative blue and white images.
A way for kids to connect directly with the richness of river biodiversity through a hands-on artistic experience.
Yeah.
And there was also collaboration with Legambiente in this context, right?
Yes, this activity intertwined with the traditional Festa del Albero tree festival, organized by Parco dei Mulini in collaboration with Legambiente. On that occasion, the children actively participated in reforesting the Paredes wetland area. Additional sewn fabric fragments were then added to these cyanotype works, bearing perceptions and emotions gathered during the workshops and the children's poetic contributions. A real collective effort showing concrete commitment to environmental protection.
A collaborative piece showing tangible commitment to safeguarding the territory. The last artwork we'll discuss in this section is the photograph of Piccola Custode. What exactly is Piccola Custode, and what meaning does it hold?
Piccola Custode, or Little Guardian, is a floating filter island. It was created and placed in one of the new Olona River wetlands. Its main purpose is to enhance biodiversity and help improve water quality. Its shape is a stylized oak leaf, a symbol of local vegetation also found in the city's coat of arms.
An installation combining ecological function with symbolically rich design. What's its specific role in the river's ecosystem?
Piccola Custode serves a dual function. On one hand, it contributes to natural water purification thanks to macrophyte-specific aquatic plants with filtering capabilities. On the other hand, it serves as a symbolic reminder that even small-scale actions can lead to significant environmental changes. Its modest size reinforces this aspect, inviting us to reflect on the importance of collective effort to achieve lasting environmental balance.
A small gesture carrying a big message of hope and action. What's the ultimate meaning Piccola Custode conveys to the observer?
Piccola Custode represents a kind of silent vigilance. It's a constant reminder that the union of many small acts, many small guardians, can truly transform and protect the environment around us. It's an invitation to take responsibility as attentive and conscious custodians of nature.
A powerful message urging us to reflect on our active role in environmental protection. It seems that being part of the River exhibition offers a huge variety of engaging works and ideas. But the project doesn't end there. What do we find in the section titled, The River Gives and Receives?
This is the interactive part of the exhibition where visitors like you become active participants. Several ways have been devised to engage the public and stimulate personal reflection on their relationship with the river.
Like what? What can we expect to find in this dynamic part of the exhibition?
One of the most interesting proposals is the sound installation Radio Memoria, radio memory. It's an evocative mix of ambient river sounds like flowing water and birdsong interwoven with voices telling stories, anecdotes, and memories related to the Olona. There's also the idea of integrating a QR code, allowing visitors to upload their own audio testimonies, enriching this archive of collective memories over time. Though there is a slight concern about whether participation might be low for that feature.
A way to build a living, evolving memory of the community's relationship with its river. Are other forms of interaction planned?
Yes, there's an installation called the Interactive Wall. It consists of small fabric or paper fragments that visitors can take. In return, they leave behind a piece with their own story, thought, or answer to a specific river-related question. Then there's the idea of biomaterial boats containing native plant seeds inspired by an old local tradition of children making little boats. Visitors could take one in exchange for a short audio recording or written testimony.
Very original ideas that invite the public to interact with the exhibition on different levels, leaving a trace of their visit. And there's also an acoustic game, right? What's that about?
Exactly. It's called Natural Rhythm. It's another interactive element designed to explore the sound dimension of the river and our relationship with its natural rhythms. And of course, to accompany the visit, there will be the audio guide integrating Marisol's introductory words and providing deeper insights into the various aspects of the exhibition. They're also considering involving students from Liceo Cavalieri as guides, creating another bridge between the project and the younger generation.
A great way to connect the exhibition with the local area and its human resources. Besides these interactive proposals, are there other objects or installations planned to enrich the visitor experience?
Marisol also proposed creating a more intimate, personal installation. It would metaphorically represent her own journey of discovering the Olona and its deep connection to the territory and its people. And let's not forget the community maps that will be displayed. They're still figuring out the best way to present those 12 maps.
A truly rich and multifaceted picture that shows the complexity and depth of the Being Part of the River project. Before we wrap up our deep dive, the exhibition also invites us to explore the Parco dei Mulini itself. How does that invitation take shape?
Through the Olona Greenway. It's a nature and culture trail that encourages visiting the park by following the river's course. It's a route of about 10 kilometers running from Legnano to Nerviano, mostly on cycle paths and dirt roads. It offers a chance to discover the beauty of the landscape, local agricultural products, and the rich cultural heritage of an area where farming has managed to coexist with urban development.
A valuable opportunity to experience the river firsthand, immersing oneself in its atmosphere and discovering its unique features. And to navigate this route, there's also a helpful digital tool available for visitors.
Yes, there's a smartphone app available. It offers GPS tracking and allows access to the route from wherever you are. This lets visitors explore the river upstream or downstream according to their preferences and curiosity.
It really sounds like a comprehensive project aiming to reestablish a deep, conscious bond between people and the Olona River through knowledge, art, and direct experience.
Absolutely. The being part of the river exhibition is a unique opportunity to rediscover a fundamental element of the local territory, one that's too often overlooked. And it's a chance to reflect on our active role in its protection and enhancement.
So we'll leave you with a question we hope sparks some reflection for each of you. What is our relationship with the waterways and natural spaces around us? Are we aware of their history, their intrinsic value, and their crucial role in our quality of life? And how can we become more attentive, more involved, and more responsible towards our own forgotten rivers? We strongly encourage you to explore the links provided in the show notes to learn more about the community maps and the Olona Greenway, to start or continue your own personal journey of connecting with this precious territory. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.